Alright, hey, Leroy Diesel. This is going to be a Hummer lift pump upgrade. Here's the Raptor 100, and you can see how it's mounted back there with that bolt on the top, and then you got two bolts down here. It just sandwiches their bracket on the frame. Right here you'll mount the block, which when you get the kit it's all self-explanatory, but you'll have 4 bolts that run through here and go into the pump itself. That's how you would mount it. It's going to mount right basically underneath the oil filter. The Hummers are so tight that it's about the best place I've found to be able to mount this pump, and all the fittings are going to be set up. You'll have a 90-degree fitting that's going to come up here and go up to the original lift pump connections, which you will disconnect, and then with the fittings I supply, you're basically just going to be tapping in this lift pump. The nice thing about it is, if you wanted to, you could always remove these 2 bolts and loosen the top bolt up here, right there, and then slide it slightly to the rear. Slide this whole assembly to the rear during an oil change. You know, if your oil filter's up here, it could get kind of messy. I'd have to agree with that, but if you want to move it out of the way temporarily and then slide it back up and bolt it back down, you could always do that. Unfortunately, you can't move it any farther forward because you start running into the motor mount up there. Will get in the way, and it's about as far out of the way from anything else as as I could find. So that's it. Just wanted to show you that real quick. I'll seam another video in with this one next that'll show you the fittings and how to make the connection up top. Alright, so this is part 2, and this is Leroy Diesel, the Hummer lift pump upgrade. Right here you have the factory lift pump right here, and then you got the connection on the back side. Let me zoom out. That's kind of right over here on the driver's side, right there underneath the firewall area. So I'm going to get back down off of this thing, and I've kind of got a mock-up here I'm going to show you the rest of this with. And by the way, the lift pump was right about there. The factory one is, that's the factory one. The Raptor is basically straight down below. I'll show you. Probably won't be able to tell much, but basically it's just straight down below all that on the frame, which is what I just showed you in the previous video. So coming over here now, that fitting I just pointed at on the lift pump, this is going to represent that a little bit. Bear with me. So we machined these fittings, this one, and you'll get that and a clamp for each side. And your original lift pump is in between these two. This represents the inlet, and then this would be the outlet, for example, and the lift pump sits in there and does its thing. So in this case, what you're going to do is we need to interrupt the fuel supply so we can send it down to the Raptor, which is here. It'll be down below on the frame rail, kind of in this orientation. And you'll take the fuel hose that comes with it. It's a big roll of, geez, I don't know what, I haven't measured it, but it's got to be at least 20 feet. You're only going to wind up using maybe 6 feet, but you'll cut 2 pieces off of there to length, and then what you'll do is one piece will go on the inlet. Well, I should say this, the one coming from the tank, and that'll come down to the Raptor inlet, and then the outlet going up to the engine obviously goes to the other one. So you'll take a piece of that hose, and these are on the pump side will be push lock fittings, so you won't need any clamps, and that's just you'll install these. This comes in the kit also. But when you get to these quick connect fittings, let me get a close-up of this. You just push it until it snaps, and then you're done. The hose, you'll probably want to have it pre-installed already, and then you'll run that up to the corresponding fittings. So believe I covered everything. If you need to adjust the pressure, which you definitely need to have a fuel pressure gauge on there, you can adjust this is where you would adjust the pressure. Trying to think what else. On the back side of this, where that block is, where it mounts, you'll see the bolt holes right there, or the actual bolts they go through, and they're countersunk. Sure feel like I'm forgetting something. But that's about it. And this kit will be available on LEROYDIESEL.com. This will make a big improvement in the way the truck runs. Vastly superior pump. It has a lifetime warranty. That in itself is one of the biggest selling features. There's no other pump that I know of. I used to sell a Walbro and a Carter, and they've all sent their manufacturing to China, and I'm having nothing but problems with them. So I cannot find anything in that price point, unfortunately. There was no warranty on those pumps either. This pump is $439, and there may be an additional cost because these fittings I've got to buy extra, so we're talking, you know, maybe another 15 bucks or something. By the time this makes it to the website, I'll have that all finalized. You'll see the final price on the website. But the main thing is it has a lifetime warranty, and in over 8 years of me selling this pump to the truck guys, I've sold many of these and literally have had 0 problems, and that's 0. So that's pretty incredible. These are also made in USA. That's a big bonus in my opinion. So any questions, as always, let me know. LEROYDIESEL.com, and the email is info@LEROYDIESEL.com. Thanks.